our weather forecast today.
Today's forecast, a lot of sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just the perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, about to get away. Feels like it's been a freaking decade.
Welcome back to another episode of The Social Beaches. I'm Kelly Bowling.
I'm Carolyn Smith.
And we're I can't talk today. We are with the Coastal Estate team, and we sell real estate in the Brevard County Space Coast area and down into Indian River County. So if you're looking to buy or sell, or you just have general real estate questions, give us a call, 321-422-2160, or you can email us at hello@coastalestateteam.com.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about your college students and budgets. Do you give them a budget? Do they work and they have their own money for incidentals, like, food that's not like at the dining hall, or they need clothes, or they need a haircut, or they want to go out to a movie or see a concert or whatever, all the things that college students like to do. So how do you handle your young adult children? Because they are now, most of them over 18 when they're starting college. Some of them are a little behind the curve, but they'll be turning 18 their first year. And I have a student who, she's in grad school now, so she's 23, so she's been through the whole undergrad. And
I have one who's 18. Well, I have another one who's 20, but he lives at home, so it's a little bit different situation. But she just went off to college, and it was me reading all the parent Facebook groups, and somebody posed the question, like, how much do you send your child weekly or monthly
do you give them an allowance?
How do you handle that? And I'm reading all the answers, and there were a lot of none. I send zero. So I had to text Kelly and go, what did you do? Because what I'm doing is basically she has my credit card. She has a credit card. She has her own credit card, and she also has my credit card. She just charges everything to my credit card except for her gas. I have her put that on her own, but I still pay that bill. And I pay for her car insurance, her car payment, her dorm, her tuition. I mean, she has Florida prepaid. Right. And she has Bright Futures at 100%. So a lot of her dorm and tuition is paid for. But I pay for everything else, and I don't ask her to contribute, and I don't ask her to work during school. Right. And she did work over the summer, but I had her put that in her own savings account because she wants to do study abroad. Right. And she'll need to save for that because that's on her. Okay. And so she'll work over the summers. But I was surprised at the number of people who do not send anything, or they're like, oh, occasionally I'll throw some money at them for gas, or I pay the car payment and car insurance and nothing else. And they work during the summer 3 jobs to save up, or they work during school. So all of that was surprising. So I reached out to Kelly and I'm like, hey, what did you do?
And I had to research the memory because it's been a while since she was in undergrad, but her first year, she had worked the summer prior, babysitting, odd jobs, stuff like that. She was a nanny. And so she had saved up a bunch of money, and so she had that in her bank account. And she was really good at saving. And she had a car that her dad was paying for the first semester until it got wrecked, and then mom bought her a car. But so that's when I took over the car payments and the insurance. But she also had a full ride, so she wasn't paying for any tuition or dorm or anything. And she actually got a little bit back because it was an overage. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, your job is to keep those scholarships. That's your job right now. So don't get a job while you're in school. But if you want to work over the summers, that's totally fine. But while you're in school, your job is to keep your scholarships so that you can continue to have that free ride every year. Because she didn't have Bright Futures. She didn't have any Florida prepaid. Right. Yeah, so she did get in-state tuition since I lived here. But, she had a director's award at USF. And then she also had a community scholarship from her hometown. And then she got a Marine Corps scholarship. That was a big bulk of it. Yeah. That she ended up getting every year. So that paid for everything. And then we just gave her, once I started taking over the car payments, then she had a car. She had insurance paid for. But she paid for her own gas. She didn't really drive a lot because everything was right there.
They don't drive a lot. Summer doesn't drive a lot either.
No, there's not really a need. And she's not, I thought she would be living her best college life, going out. She was a bookworm. She studied a lot. She stayed in a lot. She, every now and again she'd go to Chick-fil-A. They had one on campus, so she didn't really have to go far. She had the dining plan, so she ate most of her meals there. She wasn't cooking, really.
Yeah, and see, Summer has, so she has she has a dorm, but it's like an apartment with a full kitchen and like a living area, and then there's 4 bedrooms in there. So each of the girls has their own room. Yeah. But she goes to Publix and or Target and buys food, and she mostly cooks in her dorm.
That's nice.
And then when she goes to the dining hall, because I didn't buy her dining plan because she has the full kitchen. Yeah. Like she'll go. Called like Huey Magoo's. I'm like, what is that? But it's chicken tenders. But she's like, they give you so many, and she takes half of it home and eats the other half for dinner.
Oh, okay.
So one order of chicken tenders is like 2 meals for her.
Okay.
So I feel like, I don't know, she doesn't spend a lot of money. She's very, very careful. She's not going out to buy like a ton of expensive clothes. If she needs something, she's usually going to Ross and she asks. And
it's nice that they ask, you know, and I feel like that is because they're not trying to take advantage, you know, and they've been taught, you know, you've taught her over time, like, you know, this is responsible spending because she's asking permission. She's not just assuming she can, I have mom's card and I can go charge it all over the place. I'll say that my kids, you know, they're users on one of my credit cards. Yeah. And like, I've told them you can use it for gas. Like my daughter, when she was working, after she finished undergrad, she was working, but she had to drive a lot for her job. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if you're going to pay your rent, I will pay for your gas so that you can afford to pay for your rent.
Right.
So she would charge just gas. And then if she wanted something on Amazon or whatever, she would always ask permission. Hey, can I put this on your Amex? Yes or no, depending on what the answer is. Usually it's a yes. If I'm being real, she's asking.
Yeah.
And then the same thing for Jacob, who's not in school and he's living at home but working full time. I don't know why we pay for everything because this child works full time. But we pay for his, obviously, where he lives. He has a free roof and free food. And we pay his car payment and his insurance. But because I feel like, well, we're doing it for one, we probably need to be doing it for the other.
It's because he didn't choose college. Because some people, college is not the right choice for them.
No, and he loves his job. Like, he absolutely loves getting up and going to work every day.
Which is amazing.
But if he wants car parts, for instance, he spends his own money, and he's a really good saver, too. I'm shocked because, I'm not. I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah. I don't know where my kids got that from either. And I've set them up. They both have savings accounts. I don't know. I see these people with the zero and hey, if you can't afford it, like the kids need to work because they have to pay that. Because
I had to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's like, I was on a super strict budget when I went to college. My parents did pay for it, but then they like gave me very limited money. So I worked all through college, you know, and it's hard. It's hard to work and keep your grades up, and Bright Futures. I know Chris didn't have that, but the Bright Futures, to keep it, you have to maintain a certain grade point average.
Yeah.
So it's
that is their job. To keep that money coming in, I feel like, you know, when they're in college. Now, when I went to college the first time right out of high school, my parents said, we will front you the cost of the first semester because I had a job that I worked full time. It would give me reimbursement for my classes as long as it kind of aligned with like business.
Yeah.
And I could make things align with that, you know, because you're taking gen ed the first couple years anyhow.
Yep,
so they fronted me the money for that first semester at a community college.
Yeah.
And I went, and then I did get reimbursed, and then I was able to cover the next semester. So I could pay for that, and I had to buy my own books and all of that. But then when it came time for there was this other job that paid a little bit more than what I was making, but it was shift work. So like, how are you gonna make that work with the college schedule? And this is before there was correspondence courses, which were literally VHS tapes. I'm showing my age here. That you would play on your TV at home, take notes, go take a final on campus.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was like, I'll just quit college because I want the money. You know, if I have to I had to pay my own car payment. I had to pay for my insurance. I had to pay for my gas, my clothes, and I lived at home. But I was having to pay for everything. So my parents were trying to teach me responsibility. I was still not responsible.
I wasn't responsible. That's why I think, you know, I think about, well, I could put her on a very strict budget, but she doesn't spend the money anyway.
Yeah.
And I was on a very strict budget. And in order to get around that, I went and got a job. I mean, and I worked a lot. I waited tables. I worked till 3 a.m. and, you know, had trouble getting up for class.
Yeah. Well, I think it does. It will then drive that, you know, if they can't get everything that they want, if they have expensive taste, you know, then, you know, that will drive them to work. Because for me, it did. It was like, well, I want these things and I want to have extra money after I pay for those things. So I need to get a job here. But it also, I left the house early. I bought a home when I was 19. So you know, very different.
Right.
And then I didn't finish college until, let's see, I graduated in 2011. So that was many years after I finished high school that I finished college. And I was working full time through that degree. So, you know, and parenting and all of the things.
Right. Then you had kids.
I wanted to kick myself and be like, we should have done it when mom and dad were, you know, covering the roof expenses for sure. It'd have been
I tell her,
easier.
you know, like, enjoy it while you can.
Yes.
Like, this is the one time in your life that you don't have all that responsibility. And she does say things like she freaked out about how much the books were.
Yeah.
She was like, this book is it was like $282 for a book. She's like, how is that possible? And I'm like, because probably the professor teaching the class wrote it and required.
They're getting kickbacks over there.
They're getting whatever they're getting. And And I was like, you have to suck it up and get the book, and it's fine. And I budgeted for that. Like I said, she does have Florida prepaid, which I highly recommend. Babies. Get Florida prepaid.
Or whatever your state has for, you know, their college.
529 plans are good.
Yeah, it's
I
a good
didn't
investment.
do that. And Bright Futures, while they have it, I mean, if your child can do well enough in high school and get the right test scores, that Bright Futures has been amazing because it hasn't paid for the whole dorm, but it's really, really assisted.
Right.
And then once she's out of the dorm, because they can only do the first year in the dorm because they're overcrowded, but it will refund that money and it can still go to housing or food or whatever. So, so those are big things. But
So what about the extras? Like if they decide they want to be in a sorority, that's expensive, or a fraternity.
A sorority, I feel like, costs as much as housing.
It basically is.
It's like $4,000 and some.
It's a lot of money per
maybe
year,
more than housing.
depending on, you know, I guess what school you go to. But I know, like
I just watched Bama.
Oh, the Bama Rush. Yeah.
And they were saying how much those were, and they're like $4,000 and some dollars.
Yeah,
I think
extra.
Is it a year or a semester?
It might be a semester. I'm not sure though. I know Carissa rushed her first year, and then she ended up not getting the sorority that she was interested in. So she was like, "Peace out. I'm done with that."
Yeah.
But one of her roommates, her second year, was in one. And it's very expensive and very time consuming.
Yeah, they have to do a lot of service activities and events.
A lot of events and things like that. And when I look back on it, Carissa just is not an events type of person.
And they need clothes. Like they have to wear like it. It's
we had to shop for the rush week and like all these different outfits. I'm like, okay.
I base mine on the Bama.
Yeah.
I'm like, the girls are wearing these like $600 sneakers.
Right, that look like they've been run over by a trash truck.
Yes, and the jewelry and
yes. I don't own most of those things, nor would I buy them because I don't value stuff like that.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah. And then what about like the travel abroad? I really wanted Carissa to do it, but then it was COVID. So hers was a virtual thing for like a clinic in the Dominican Republic. So she had to use her Spanish skills and she would like see patients virtually. But one of her roommates did travel to Florence, Italy, which I was like,
did she love it?
For sure. She loved it.
My best friend, her daughter went to Sydney, Australia.
Oh, wow.
Travel abroad. Yeah.
Yeah. Where does Summer want to go?
Because she likes Spanish, so Barcelona or something like that. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So she wants to do that. Well, she has to save for that. And I think if she wanted to do the sorority, most of my friends whose kids were in sororities, I feel like the kids had to pay for that. They had to work and save and I mean, I'm sure the parents helped because it is so expensive, and especially like you said with the clothes and the jewelry and the extra.
Well, those
things.
girls, their parents are funding all of that. We are sure of it because if they have that kind of designer like attire and apparel in their closets, then mommy and daddy are paying for that.
Yes.
I'm sure.
And have you seen their dorm rooms? I'm like, we did the basics, you know.
They're like designer, like interior decorators coming in to like make it all go together with these two separate girls living in there. There's this one called After 5 Designs I see on Instagram.
Oh,
and
gosh.
they're pretty to look at, but oh my goodness. Like, no, we were at like Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, you know.
Yes.
What do we need on Amazon?
Yes, Amazon.
Yeah.
Costco. Mm-hmm. We did all the things.
We want our kids to have a fun experience. And for me, you know, because of my kids' situation, I had a lot of like the mom guilt and I wanted to give them everything. And I still have those tendencies. Like if I can cover it, I'm going to cover it because I don't want them to start their life off after school in like hordes of debt, you know?
Well, the student loan thing I think is kind of scary. Like when we see it on the news and everything about these people just saddled there in their 40s or 50s.
And they're still paying.
Yeah,
you know,
student debt. And they can't get it down or whatever. I don't really understand how it
because
works.
the way the interest works, so you could have paid in full, like the total amount of your loans, and you still owe 3 times what you paid because the way the interest is working on that. So they were trying to get something in line, and maybe they did. I haven't followed it too closely, where, you wouldn't be paying interest past a certain point or something like that. I'm not an expert. So the whole
It's
thing
terrible.
that didn't pass with like what was it going to be, like a $10,000 wipe away of a slate for everybody that applied, and then that didn't pass. So, there's going to be a lot of people out there.
And if you borrow money, you should pay it back. But should you pay it back to the point that these people, and again, not educated enough, don't come at us.
Right.
We don't really understand how it works. But it seems crazy that these people are saying they're paying all this money and they can never get.
They can't get ahead.
Yeah, they can't get the number down.
Right.
So, that seems kind of.
Yeah, I feel like you have to really like snowball it to get it down, perhaps. I don't know. But.
Yeah. I did not want to saddle my kids with that. That was something that was like important to me, that I didn't want them to be like stuck, because it's hard enough to buy a house or pay groceries, those kinds of things. And then you're paying a student loan.
Right.
So
Yeah, this is true.
Trying to avoid that at all costs.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Carissa has borrowed a little bit for PA school just so she has a cushion if she needs for rent and stuff like that. But that Chapter 35 with the VA, that's been a big relief. Like, we finally got that approved for her, so that helps with her rent. And then mom's paying the tuition for now.
Yeah.
Like, if I can afford it, then I'll pay it, and then we can move on. So we just got 4 more semesters to go.
She's almost done.
No, she's like too sick.
I know.
A third of the way.
I'm trying to make it sound good. 4 doesn't sound like that much.
No, it doesn't. So I guess that's it for...
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. We're sure that people have some.
What do you do with your kids? Or what do you plan to do if you don't have kids that are there yet? What's your plan?
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about it? Because that stuff's expensive.
Yeah, and comment. We would love to hear.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Cheers.
Sunny days, no clouds in the sky.